What's up everyone, Trent here. Carmen Sandiego's first season has dropped on Netflix. Is it the nostalgia hype everyone's looking for, or is it kind of falling flat and you don't really care where she is? Stick around, find out. Follow our handles at Fortress Nerds, subscribe to our channels, give the video a thumbs up, and as always you're watching The Fortress. Let's get into the review. Okay, so Carmen Sandiego is a thoroughly enjoyable first season. It's only 9 episodes, but do we get a really fantastic 9 episodes? The animation style is absolutely phenomenal. You are really engrossed in every beautiful scene, whether it's in the Australian outback, in Paris, anywhere. Everything is just super detailed and simplistic. If I was to describe the animation style, it's almost like a Samurai Jackie kind of magazine Vogue look. It's got that noir-esque spy espionage feel to it, and it's just really well done. I would actually say it's on par with Batman the Animated Series in just how awesomely beautiful it transitions onto screen. Gina Rodriguez is fantastic as Carmen Sandiego, really delving into the mysterious nature and mystique of the character. She varies the voice and acts accordingly, soft-spoken but able to really deliver when she needs to. The support cast is really good as well, the standout for me being Chase Divino, who's a French Interpol agent who ends up working with Acme, and he's played by Raphael Patardi. Now what's really good about this season is it's not just a let's go to different countries and different areas and kind of learn all about them. Now the plot is a really interesting story. The first 2 episodes you get to see Carmen's origin, where she grows up on Vile Island, Vile standing for Villains International League of Evil. And she's an outcast, she's orphaned, she's one of the younger people that just goes around causing trouble on the island, where the cadets who are going into Vile, who think it's an import-export agency, kind of learn the skills of espionage and the spy game and how to be a master thief. So Carmen develops all these skills, and she quickly finds out that they don't believe in her. The 5 leaders, while 4 of them do, the 5th leader doesn't believe in her, and she kind of wants to get off the island and explore the world after having communication with her sidekick, who is known as Player, who's played by Finn Wolfhard. And he's a really interesting character who helps her and communicates with the outside world. She gets to learn about the outside world and wants to explore. So once she escapes the island, her and Player work together to steal from Vile and return all the things that they were going to thieve to the world where they belong. There's one episode, this really, really good episode, that sees Carmen steal 34 paintings from Vile, who have stolen them from all these major art galleries. And the detective is after Carmen, thinking that she's the one doing all these crimes, when in actual fact she's stealing from the stealers to return them back to the main world. So it's a really good dynamic. You get to see a lot of different characters. The 2 side characters that I dislike the most are the brother and sister, Ivy and Zach. Zach is really, really irritating. He's a Bostonian. They're both Bostonians, and just the sound of their voice is really kind of irritating. I just don't connect with them at all, and Zach is really kind of the comedic relief who's an idiot. For someone who's a master thief and wants to be subtle and all these things, it doesn't make any sense as to why he would be on the team at all, because he just kind of gets himself and ruins everything for Carmen. Like, he orders room service when they're meant to be on a stakeout. It just doesn't make any sense. But overall, this is a really good plot. It sees Carmen going up against Vile in different countries. I'm not entirely sure what audience this is directed to. Like, it feels like it's directed to people who grew up with the video game, in terms of the kind of story and art being very dynamic, and whilst it's slow paced but it's quick paced, I don't think a younger child would stick around and watch a single episode, even though they are 20 minutes. It's kind of like you get engrossed in the story, because there's a lot of dialogue in this story. There's a lot of dialogue in every episode. But then you have the breakdowns of what each country and each town is, what it's known for. It's kind of an educational series as well, so that's where the younger viewers will come in, but the way they deliver that kind of information is explained in a childish way, so I'm not entirely sure what audience this is directed for. I personally loved the series, and the only parts that I didn't enjoy were those educational little breakdowns of each town, just because of the way they were delivered. So each of the Vile agents that Carmen goes up against, they all have a specific skill set that fits into every given episode. And most of those skill sets are based off a particular piece of training that they did, whether it's origami making to learn how to pickpocket, whether it's technology based. It's all these different little things that make Carmen Sandiego go up against all these challenges, which naturally she excels at and has a good idea about. So it's really good seeing that dynamic play out. Every episode's different, which is fantastic. And just the way that the group interacts with Carmen. Like, Player is a really good character, but he's kind of that little bit too exposition heavy and explaining the concepts when you don't really need to, which once again is where it falls into the kind of kids show category. But then you have some of the higher themes and higher concepts where, you know, you have the cleaners who are vile cleaner uppers who fix the mistakes that people have made. And at one point you have Carmen's former best friend who turned enemy, who's now turned friend again, Crackle, who goes by the name of Grey, when his mind gets erased because he screwed up on Vile. So there are some really deep and dark themes in this show, but overall, beautiful series, really interesting plot. It gives Carmen a really good backstory that will be able to be followed through subsequent seasons, and I really want to see more from this series. It's really interesting, really engaging, beautiful theme music. The opening sequence is so noir-esque. It's just virtually black and white with Carmen's iconic red coat and red hat coming through and just beating all these guards. I really enjoyed this series, and hopefully you all do too. I would give it a probably 9 out of 10. That's how much I enjoyed it for a children's show, and I was hooked from the get-go, and I did a binge watch. I didn't look away. It was just absolutely beautiful. Anyway, I'm Trent. Let me know your thoughts of Carmen Sandiego in the comments below. Check out our other videos in the channel. You can listen to our podcast. The link is in our bio, and click around on the links going through the cards on the screen. I'm Trent, and you're watching The Fortress.